A couple minutes ago, I made the assertion that if you're going to lend money to friends and family, then you have to charge interest. And actually, out of the 2 times that I've lent money, and like I said, I've been asked dozens and dozens of times, and I've only granted 2 requests. One time I charged interest, and the other time I didn't. And the time that I didn't, basically, it was only a loan for a week. So it didn't really make any sense to charge interest. But the other one was a loan for, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, something like that. So I did charge interest. I charged 8% interest, compounded continuously. And on a $2,500 loan, I made like $74. And you just laugh at me or yell at me or say, what a jerk. You charged this guy interest for, being in this dire situation. He needed to borrow money. Hey, like it actually, it wasn't like I needed $74. That wasn't really the point. The point, there's actually a number of points. I mean, one of the points is if you can't get the money anywhere else, if you've exhausted all other possibilities, then you're a high credit risk, and you that needs to be recognized. You probably need to have interest charge. But second of all, if this really is a loan, then let's pretend it's a loan. I mean, the bank isn't going to give you a loan with no interest. So why would you? It just makes no, not only does it make no economic sense, it just makes no sense. And if with this, let's say it's your brother, okay, and your brother is, borrowing $50,000 to start a business or whatever, and if he says he's borrowing the money, then let's I get it that we're family, but let's write up a contract, let's make it like a real document, let's make it a loan, and you pay interest, however you want to structure it, whether you pay it all at the end or you pay it every 6 months or whatever. Then it kind of looks and feels like a real loan. It's just common sense. I mean, if somebody's coming to you for money, they have exhausted all other possibilities. And, if credit is not available, then the price of it doesn't matter. And, a lot of people are just morally opposed to charging interest to friends and family. Kind of feels very Gordon Gekko-ish. And it's, it's not about the money. It's about a lot of things. But the general principle here is first step number one is assume that it's a gift. If you're going to lend somebody, remember, write it to 0. As soon as you give them that money, just assume you're never going to see it again, and you have to be okay with the idea that you're never going to see it again, and you have to say, this isn't going to affect our relationship. If you aren't willing to do that, then don't lend the money. Just say no. And if the guy wants to be mad at you for saying no, that's a lot better than you being mad at him for not paying you back. So you want to assume that it's a gift, but if it's not a gift, if it's an actual loan, then make it a loan. Charge interest. So let's talk about what happens if you get stiffed. The time to get paid is come and gone, and you don't have your money. And by the way, I've never gotten stiffed. But there was a situation, and it's not about really loaning money to friends and family, but a friend asked for $500 for something, and it wasn't a close friend. It was more like an acquaintance. And I said, this is probably a scam. I said, this is probably a scam, but this person has done nice things for me in the past, so it's kind of bad karma if I just don't give her the money. So I gave her the money. And I said, when I gave her the money, I said, never ask me again. One time. That's it. 3 weeks later, she was asking for more money. It was a scam. Just, I knew it was a scam, and I did it anyway, just, because otherwise it was bad karma. So that didn't work out so good. But, live and learn. But if you get stiffed and the time to get paid back has come and gone, you don't have money, how do you handle it? I mean, are you just going to blow up his phone like on a daily basis, like send him 20 text messages a day? Are you going to like hire a private investigator? What are you going to do? because this is like out in the open. Like everybody knows this. Like he knows it, you know it. You know. Well, if you had followed step 1, you already would have written this loan to zero. So it wouldn't matter. And actually, that's kind of my suggestion. If you lend money and you don't get paid back, then you should be at a point emotionally where if you already said, if you wrote it to zero, you assumed you were never going to get it back, then it doesn't matter. Then it literally does not matter. Like you wrote it to zero, you don't get paid, but you knew you weren't going to get paid anyway, so it should have no consequence at all. And I actually have an easier time loaning out large amounts of money than small amounts of money, which I think I mentioned before. But these people that just, they borrow $50 over and over again, I don't have time for these people. But this brings us to another point. And I believe very, very strongly in this. Very strongly in this. What's the best way to put this? I actually don't believe in charity. I don't believe in charity. I believe in investment. Okay, so, that's my background. I'm a Wall Street guy. I'm an investor, and I don't enjoy giving money away. I don't like to think of it like that, even if I am. The way I think of it is I'm making an investment, and I'm getting a return off my investment. So I mentioned in a previous show that I donate to, and I'm not bragging or anything, but it's, I donate to animal rescues, and I don't really think of it as charity. I think of it as an investment, and I get a return on my investment. And that actually goes with friends and family, right? The same, if you have to think of it as an investment, you're getting something in return. And so what are you getting in return? And in the case of, donating to an animal shelter, what are you getting in return? Well, you save cats, but you get a psychic reward. You get a psychic reward. You get to feel good that you're helping, and that is what you get in return. If you really are going to loan money to a friend, and he's really, this has happened to me before. The one of the 2 times that I'll tell you about the 2 times that I loaned money. One of the 2 times that I loaned money, there was a guy who was a very good friend of mine since going back to college, and he was struggling with some substance abuse issues, and he was going through a bad divorce, and he had legal problems, and he ran through all his money. And ordinarily in situations like that, you would look at this person and you would say, not a good idea. His life is a mess. There's, whatever, not a good investment. And I knew him for a long time. I knew his character. And it wasn't just about being, I really considered this an investment. Basically I loaned him the money to hire a lawyer for his legal issues. That's what the money was for. And basically, he quit drinking. He got back on his feet, and he got back to his job, and he started earning money again, and he paid me back. And, like I said, I didn't even, I talked about it with my wife at the time. I said, hey, my buddy wants to borrow $2,500. And I said, I think I'm going to loan him the $2,500. And she said just what I said in the beginning of this piece. She said, you just have to assume you're not going to get paid back, and you're okay with that. And that's how I went into it, and then I structured it as a loan. I said, you're going to pay me 8% interest, and I got an extra $74. But the amazing thing is that this man has a 1 in a million, completely turned his life around. Got remarried, has kids, his job, he's gotten promoted, makes tons of money, got a big house now. His life is totally different. And if I hadn't lent that money to solve his legal problems, then none of that ever would have happened. So for me, that was the greatest investment of all time. But you have to understand that was a 1 in a million shot. And a lot of people, especially people who are using alcohol or drugs, are not good investments. And then you end up in a sort of a codependent relationship, and you end up enabling their behavior. And that's the danger. That's really the danger with a lot of lending money, which, I didn't think I was going to talk about today, but it's actually a serious issue. If you have, especially if you're a parent with children and the child has a substance abuse problem, and they keep asking you for money, if you give the money, you're enabling. And it's a codependent relationship, and you're facilitating their addiction. So, you gotta take that into account. Pretend when you lend money, pretend you are a capitalist, which you are. Invest in these people. And where people typically go wrong is that they loan money saying that they expect something in return, when in reality, it is charity. And that's when the resentment comes in.